There's something beneath everything you've ever touched. Not metaphorically, not philosophically, literally. Every object, every wall, every floor beneath your feet has something under it that most people never think about. And here's what makes this uncomfortable. Science already found it. It was measured, tested, proven, again and again. And then something strange happened. The discovery was accepted. But the meaning of it was ignored. People learned the equations. They built technology from it. They used it to create the modern world. And then they went right back to living like none of it changed anything. But it should have changed everything, because what was found doesn't just change physics. It changes how you see reality. It changes how you see yourself. Most people believe reality is solid, stable, predictable. What you see is what's there. Default text. Before you look at them, they exist as possibilities. Multiple outcomes at once. Not one position, not one reality. Possibilities. And then something happens. You observe it. You measure it. You interact with it. And in that moment, everything collapses into one outcome. One position, one reality. This is not theory. This is measured, repeated, verified. So now we have to face something most people avoid. Default text reality, at its deepest level, is not fully formed until it is observed. Pause on that. Because if that's true, then observation is not passive. And if observation is not passive, then you are not just watching life happen. You are participating in it. Now this is where most people stop, because this is where it starts to feel uncomfortable. But if you go deeper, everything begins to connect. Let me tell you a story. There was a woman, a scientist. She spent years studying light, understanding it, measuring it, working with it every day. She knew the equations. She understood the behavior. She could explain everything on paper. But there was one question she never asked. What does this actually mean? Not what does it do? Not how can we use it? But what does it mean about reality? Because she was trained not to ask that. Just do the math. Don't worry about the interpretation. And for years, she followed that rule. Until one night, working alone, something shifted. She looked at the data differently, not as numbers, not as results, but as a message. And for the first time, she allowed herself to ask, what is this telling me about reality? And once she asked that question, she couldn't unsee it. Because the data wasn't just showing behavior. It was showing something deeper, that reality wasn't fixed, that observation mattered, that something about consciousness was involved, and once she saw that, everything changed. Not the experiments, not the results, but her understanding, and that's what's happening here. Nothing about your world has to change for everything to change. You just have to see it differently. Now let's bring this closer to you. Think about a time in your life where something didn't go the way you expected. Maybe you stayed in something too long. A situation, a relationship, a decision deep down. You felt something was off, but you ignored it. You told yourself, it'll work out. I just need more time. I've come too far to stop now. And from the outside, it looked obvious. But from your perspective, it made sense. Why? Because you weren't seeing reality clearly. You were seeing it through your beliefs, your emotions, your expectations. And that's the same thing happening. At the quantum level, you are not seeing everything. You are seeing a filtered version. Your brain is constantly deciding what matters, what to focus on. What to ignore. So just like the particle, your reality collapses based on what is observed. This doesn't mean you control everything, but it does mean you are not separate from the process. And this is where it gets deeper. There's something called entanglement. When two particles connect, they stay connected. No matter how far apart they are, what happens to one affects the other instantly. No delay. No distance. Now think about that. Everything in the universe came from the same origin. Everything has interacted, which means at some level, everything is connected. Not metaphorically. Literally. And that includes you. You are not separate from reality. You are part of it. And underneath all of this, there is something even deeper. Awareness. The awareness you're using right now to hear these words. To understand. To think. Before your thoughts. Before your emotions. Before your identity. There is awareness. And here's the question. Where does that come from? Because if observation shapes reality, and awareness is what allows observation, then awareness is not small. It's fundamental. And this is the layer most people never reach. They stay at the surface. They stay in what feels real. They stay in what looks solid. But underneath it all, there is a field of possibility, which means your life is not as fixed as it feels. What you see, what you focus on, what you believe, shapes what becomes real for you, not magically, not instantly, but consistently. And once you start to see this, you can't go back, because now you realize there's always another layer. And the deeper you go, the more things change. Not out there. Through you. So here's what I want you to do. Right now. Look around you. Everything feels solid. Real. Stable. Underneath it, there's something completely different. Energy. Probability. Connection. Just hold that for a moment. You don't have to fully understand it. Just recognize it. Because that recognition is the beginning of seeing differently. And once you see differently, you live differently. You were never just looking at reality. You were looking through a layer of it. And now, you're starting to see what's underneath.